we are going to make this little bee that fits inside the mushroom. It's a little tight at the top, but there is room probably for two, if not more. This took me a little bit to get right. To make this bee, accessories, a lighter to change colors, tapestry needle I like for embroidering the eyes with the black blanket yarn, and you can add the white. I will do that today for the eyes, just a little accent on them. And then you could add a little mouth too with the black blanket yarn. Some scissors, a stitch marker, but really it's going to be like such a quick make. But really, if you want to keep track, that's fine, and I will use it in the video because I chit chat. If you want a row counter, round counter, that's fine too. A little bit of polyfill. And then for our jumbo yarn, you're not going to need any more than 1/4 of a skein of each. So yellow, I'm using the black, and then the white for the wings. Starting as we always do with a slip knot. Just going to get some things out of the way here. You're going to not have to leave a very long tail, so like 3 to 4 inches. Then you're going to take your working yarn over that tail side to create a loop, and then you're going to pull up a loop through that loop, and then you pull on the tail to tighten the knot, and then pull on the working yarn to adjust the size of the loop. And I like to keep this pretty small, so like just 1 finger widths, kind of a loose 1 finger widths. So then we're gonna, that's 1, we're gonna do 1 more loop to count as 2. This is what I like to call the foundation chain, and we're going to knit around this chain. So we're going to knit 2 going opposite from us, keeping them nice and close, and then we're going to rotate so that the tail comes over to the right clockwise. Then you're going to take the working yarn over top of that slip knot and then pull up 2 more, and this would be round 1. So then we're going to knit 4 and then increase. So then we'll end up with 5 loops. And if you want to, you can use your stitch marker, like I said, in the front. So knitting 4, keep these 2 nice and close together. And then we're going to increase right here. Is that the one? Yes. At the end. So then we have 5 loops, and that counts as round 2, and that's our 2 rounds of the yellow. So now we're going to cut our yarn right at the base here, right where the loop is going through, and then you can pull it back. Now make sure you take away some of the fuzz, enough so you can find the middle cord here. Then you take your black and you do the same, find that middle cord. Make sure that you can get a good burn or a good melt on both of them. Oops, that one is not. Like I said, you can pull this loop out back a little bit if you need more space. And then squishy together. You want to make sure you get a good bond. Wait a little bit longer. Okay, and then pull that loop back a bit if you had pulled it all the way. Now the next 2 rounds are very simple. You're just knitting those 5 rounds with the black. So I like to take, when you're knitting, take the next loop that you're going to knit, and I like to take it right to that loop that I just knitted and keep it up side, so then when you pull the working yarn through, there's less space between the loops, so then you won't see as much of the black in between. So whereas if I keep it way over here and then I knit, you're going to see a little bit more of that. Now when you stuff, you also might overstuff it, and it might also cause a little bit of separation. You might also see some of that, so you might have to remove some stuffing. You might have overstuffed it. Personal preference though, if you want it stuffed and you don't care about that, that's fine. Okay, so that's 5, so that's round 3. Then we're going to do another round of that, just keeping, I guess it'd be called our tension tight and loops nice and small. And then that yarn tail is just stuffing in there. You don't have to add much more stuffing. So that was 2 rounds of black. So again, change our color. Oh, these scissors. There we go. I have a better pair downstairs. Then burn. See if we can get both going. This yellow one does not like to catch very well. Black one was fine. And then pull it back. Now we're going to knit 2 rounds with our yellow. Did I forget? I probably forgot to mark that one because it was 2 rounds. Oh no, foundation, 2 rounds, 2 rounds black. Oops, no, so this is yellow. Minus that one that I just did, I just won't mark it at the end of this. Sometimes when I change colors like that and I go back to knitting, I forget if I marked the row or not, because sometimes I'll not. I'll just go to the color change. So I'm not going to mark that, pretend I do. So this will be our last round. Okay, so there's 5. Cut a decent sized yarn tail, just whatever you need to close off. You do need a little bit of slack, and I like to close off before I add my stuffing so I don't pull any loops through. So just take this and go from the inside to the outside of all 5 of these loops, and then you just can add a little bit of stuffing before you pull it completely closed. Oops. Okay, so I will do that and then we'll close it. So when I stuff, you want to make sure you get into every space, like you don't just stuff straight down, and maybe fluff up your stuffing a little bit before you stick it in. And like I said, if you stuff too much, you're going to start to pull your stitches apart a bit, which is okay. You can kind of adjust them with your finished product, but if it's overstuffed, there's going to be a lot of those showing. So I may be stuffing this a little less than I would because I do just struggle with that, and I don't necessarily like the look of having a whole bunch of the visibleness. And then we're going to take the yarn tail into the middle and back out, and then through the loop, pull tight. I'm going to do that twice for good measure, and then take this tail, stuff it away. Now it's up to you which side, whichever end you got looking prettier is what the side you can make the face or the front of the bee. And I like to make my bees a little bit more round than squished and oblong like that. So I will kind of shape mine more squishing them this way. I just like the way they look that way. They look a little bit like more chunky little bees. We'll do the wings though first. So I like to put them kind of where the color changes are. So there's already a rough spot there. I know we try to avoid that as best we can, but when you do the burn method, it happens. So this is where I'm going to pull up my loops for my wings. So I'm going to find a V or an opening like this, and I'm going to pull up a loop that way and pull up a loop that way. And then I'm going to leave a pretty decent sized yarn tail. You can make your, and again, you might want to pre-fluff your yarn if you have a yarn fluffer or a whisk. Okay, so I've got 2 wings. Give them a good pull. They're like a loose 1 finger widths as well. Then cut a decent sized yarn tail about the same size as that first one. And then you're just going to take this inside tail, and where that loop is coming around, go from the outside into the back, into the inside. And then this one, do the same thing to this side of the wing, outside and then back through into the inside. Squeeze them together. And now just tie these two tails really, really tight. If you have to, trim the ends off. And then find that hole that they came up out of and down they go. And then you can just adjust your overall bee, pull on the wings a bit. And now we will add our little face. It was really hard to pick a face, but I'm going to use this side. So with the black blanket yarn and my tapestry needle, I'm going to, it's about the middle of the face. And again, do any type of embroidery eyes. There's tons of YouTube videos out there, really cute eyes. I just keep mine simple. Down. So usually about 4 or 5 times, depending how big you want your eyes too. Like this guy's are a little bit bigger, and maybe I'll make this one's a little bit smaller. So maybe I'll only do 3. And then also you want to kind of disguise the fuzziness of your yarn. So if the fuzziness of the yellow yarn is shining through, then do more rounds of the black. So then it has less chance of moving and coming through. I'm just going to do small ones. And then like I usually say, I'm going to tie everything off at the end, just in case something needs to move. Then I don't really need to cut my yarn. I can just pull this out and then reuse it. So I'm going to go here. I think it's kind of fun too to change, like if you do one eye, certain type of eyes on one plushie, maybe experiment with another kind of eyes when you make another one of the same thing. I find sometimes people gravitate towards different plushies for different reasons. And then back out. I also struggle with bee's eyes. I don't know why. It's like, I find the more minimalistic, so like the simpler the plushie is, the more you notice these fine details, like if the eyes are different sizes or something. Okay, now I'm going to do the white. You don't have to add the white, and you could even use the black chunky yarn and just tie it on a stitch here. Right? But I don't know, I would give it a good haircut still, just to make it a little more, what would this be called? Defined? So yeah, see there's got some yellow coming through, so it's probably a better idea to do the more rounds like this guy has. So then white, same thing. Just want to be to the outside of the black. And then again, just adjust, like I can pull on these to kind of change how much white is showing. Oops. I like using my needle to just kind of adjust how much. Tuck some in, pull some out, like stick it in and pull it, get under the yarn and pull it out until you get the look that you like. And this comes really in handy when you need to adjust the other one, so you don't get super frustrated and you think you have to redo the whole thing. Sometimes you just need to adjust it a little bit. You don't need to redo the whole thing. So then I'll show you, go in and out. Ooh, I went from top to bottom, bottom to top. These eyes don't really matter. Some eyes it matters if you want to do like the little eyelashes or something like that, or the, I don't know what to call them, just the little hood part with the black. Sometimes it matters if you need to go from the bottom of the eye to the top of the eye. I know that it will make sense when you try to do it. So these are actually looking pretty when I turn it this way, maybe not. So then again, fiddle fiddle. I will also have a care card made up. So it will say, this is a handmade product. Loose ends, stuffing, things like that may pop out from time to time, especially with rough play. And you can just say like, stick the stuffing back in with a pokey stick, or reach out to me and send me a picture of what's happened, and I can instruct you on how to repair it. I am very careful on offering replacements because you don't know what that stuffy's been through for what has happened to it. So there is my finished bee. Like I said, you could add a little mouth if you wanted to. Any other little detail, if you wanted to add a little stinger or a bum, give her. But yeah, the mushroom and the bees. A cute little interactive toy for kids or just something cool.